I'm Dr. Sarita Jackson, President and CEO of the Global Research Institute of International Trade. Welcome to another episode of Trade on Tuesdays at 2, where we spend about 2 minutes talking about important international trade topics and where I offer 2 tips to help companies export to the global market competitively. Last week, President Joe Biden gave his speech to the U.S. Congress. In his speech, he briefly touched on international trade in 2 areas. One, talking about how his administration will discourage unfair trade practices by countries around the world, including China. And then secondly, he discussed this Buy American policy. When he talked about unfair trade practices, he mentioned unfair trade practices that harm U.S. industries and workers because of practices such as subsidies on the part of government that create an unfair competitive advantage. When it comes to the Buy American policy, he talked about how this does not violate any trade agreements. This is a policy that goes back to the 1930s in which U.S. tax dollars will be used to encourage the purchase of American products that in turn will create U.S. jobs. So what are you as a business owner to do under this current administration? My first suggestion is to continue to follow the policies and leverage the policies by the current administration. My second tip is to really conduct an in-depth assessment of your business and your particular product or service so that you can leverage those policies and compete in the global market. So those are my 2 tips for today. Feel free to reach out to me at grit@grit.org or call at 310-912-7950. The last few months, GRIIT has worked with corporations and small businesses on helping them to compete at the industry, the firm, and the product or service levels. So again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any additional questions or comments. Write them in the comments section below. Well, thank you for joining me on another episode of Trade on Tuesdays at 2. I'm Dr. Sarita Jackson. Until next time, stay safe and continue to compete. Bye-bye.